Mortgage Spotlight with the Hobart team. I'm Kieth Hobart. Make sure you subscribe below if you like what you're seeing. This week we're going to talk about raising interest rates, raising lumber prices, and what that could possibly mean this buying season for all you home buyers out there. Are mortgage rates rising? Yes, they are. Been hearing a lot about that lately. Even though a lot of people see that the feds are committed to keeping their rates to zero, a lot of questions still come up from that. Well, I thought rates are staying at zero. Why are mortgage rates rising? Well, the two are actually two totally separate things, so don't let those confuse you, as one does not directly correlate with the other one whatsoever. So with mortgage rates rising, what does that mean for you? Well, at least in the near term, the days of a 30-year fix being in the 2% are probably over. Does that mean that we won't see it at the end of this year or even next year? It's definitely a possibility, but at least right now in the near future, those days are gone. However, not to deter you. Rates in the low threes are still fantastic. It still gives people a ton of buying power as they're paying very little interest on their 30-year fixed mortgage. Last year in 2020, we kind of saw a perfect storm, right? We saw low rates, low inventory, a lot of people moving from major cities into the outskirts that really created this housing shortage, if you will. And we saw a lot of pre-qualified buyers sitting on the sidelines, trying week after week, month after month, trying to find a house and get an accepted offer so they could move into the home of their dreams. Another thing that actually compacted that problem too was with these record low rates, we saw people refinancing left and right, taking advantage of these unprecedented rates that we'd never seen before, where normally they might have been in a position to sell their house. It was during COVID, they got sick of looking at their same walls over and over again. So normally in that position where somebody would on average turn their house over 7 years, they might be holding on to this house for a little bit longer than they normally would, because now all of a sudden they are locked into a 30-year fix or a 15-year fix in the 2%, paying hardly any interest on that, and just thereby eliminating a future seller in the near future. Because of this, we saw more and more well-qualified borrowers sitting on the sidelines, and it was like a traffic jam. They just kept stacking up, because there just wasn't enough houses to keep up with the demand. Because of this, we saw prices shoot up. We saw more and more borrowers stacking up, and they're just kind of, again, created a perfect storm that we're still riding out into 2021 so far. Now, with raising rates, how does that affect that perfect storm situation going into the buying season of 2021? Well, it's inevitable. It will eliminate some borrowers from either the buying pool that they're in currently, or it might just push them out entirely. Now, that's going to be a very, very small percentage, so we don't see it making a huge dent into the low inventory that we're seeing and the amount of multiple offer situations and all of that stuff. So again, don't see a huge advantage there in terms of just massive amounts of borrowers just dropping off, but we will inevitably see some fall to the wayside. Now, during this time, we have seen realtors just trying to get more and more listings out there, right? We all are getting the flyers in the mail, the Facebook advertisements, whatever it may be, saying, hey, now's a great time to sell. There's low inventory. We need more inventory, getting record prices on your house. And yes, that's all very true. And I really believe that that real estate is very slow to move. News is slow to move in our industry, it feels like. And so with all this news finally getting out there, I think that going into the spring and summer of 2021, we will see more and more listings coming on the market, because people are finally going to kind of get the word out that saying, hey, we can demand a lot of money for our house, or it's going to be a relatively quick sell as long as it's priced right. And because of this, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for us to go out and either increase in purchase price wise, increase in size, maybe get some more land. But there's going to be a lot of equity in our house that we can capitalize on and take advantage of. Because of that projected increased inventory this summer, we're going to see a little bit more of a balance between buyers and sellers. Now, it's not all of a sudden going to be perfectly balanced out. It's still going to be a great seller's market, but I do think we're going to see a little bit more of a balance in most of the markets, especially in those smaller markets where we've seen a whole lot of demand, pent-up demand, and just not nearly enough inventory. Now, you've heard me talk a lot about record low inventory, and what exactly does that mean? Well, essentially what that means is the number of houses currently on the market as of right now today, or that period of time that you're looking at. So it's important to look at not only the inventory, but a more accurate representation of the number of sales happening is the number of contracts written year to date and the number of sales that have closed year to date. So that inventory number can be a little misleading because, yeah, you might jump on there and you might see that there's 10 houses on the market between $300,000 and $400,000 currently. But you also haven't seen how many houses have sold. And the only reason that there is such low inventory is because, again, there's so many buyers out there and they're just not staying on the market. So again, it's creating this perfect storm of creating this low inventory. But in actuality, we are seeing pretty good numbers of listings out there. They just happen to be selling a lot quicker than we're normally used to seeing. All right, and then the last thing I want to touch on is lumber prices and what that means for new home builds, for you as a prospective buyer out there that may be looking at new construction, and what we see kind of going into the rest of this year. We still expect to see just crazy lumber prices. We continue to see a lot of volatility. We'll see huge spikes. Then it'll correct a little bit, and then it's going back up. So it's literally all over the board. No one out there has any idea as to what they're going to do this spring, this summer, this fall. It's literally just kind of shooting in the dark here with people trying to guess what lumber prices are going to do, other than continue to go up. So one of the unintended consequences of rising lumber prices is we're actually seeing new home builders not offering pre-sales like they used to back in the day. So back in the day, you'd find your floor plan, you'd pick out all your options, you'd pick the area you'd want to build, and then that home builder would essentially build you that house per your plans and specs, turn around and sell it to you, and it was a win-win. You were getting to semi-customize your house that you're building, builder had a pre-sale in the books, so all around it was a mutually beneficial relationship. But now with these crazy lumber prices, we're seeing a lot of builders out there that went under contract maybe last fall that are just now breaking ground or broke ground earlier this year, are actually got cut into their margins drastically, and some are even losing money on these houses. So because of that, the newest trend that we've been seeing is a lot of home builders have just said, you know what, stop, we're not doing any more pre-sales. All we're going to do is spec houses. We're going to build them exactly how we want them with our colors, our specifications. And then once we have all that stuff dialed in, we're going to list the house so we know we're able to hit our achieved margins on that. Just given how much lumber, how much materials and everything cost when they went to build that house. Another thing that we're seeing is not just lumber prices, it's all finishes within that house. That finally production is starting to ramp back up, but so is demand. So you're seeing these big ups and downs in terms of prices just with all finished products, and it makes life really hard on the builder to determine, hey, how do we price this house and actually make money on this house? And so again, because of that unintended consequence, we're seeing builders not offer these pre-sales like they used to back in the day. Things up, again, even with a rising rate environment, we're going to continue to see very strong demand this spring and summer. Even though I do think it'll start to balance out a little bit. It's going to be a really strong seller's market. Again, anyone out there looking at new construction, you may or may not be able to get that spec house like you once were. But don't fret, there's still a lot of really good builders out there, still a lot of good houses being offered. You just may have to wait a little bit longer than you would have had 2 years ago. Good luck, everyone. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Leave a comment below. I'd love to help you out in any way I can.